Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers. In this video, me and Nick are going to be doing our full review of the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit. Let's see what we thought.
The samples for this review were provided by SportsShoes for me and Tom. It doesn't in any way affect our comments on the shoe at all, but thanks to SportsShoes for getting us the shoes out so we could get these reviews done. ZoomX Invincible is the first kind of training shoe from Nike that has a completely ZoomX midsole. Other shoes like the Pegasus Turbo and the Tempo Next Percent have had some kind of ZoomX foam in there, but coupled with other foams, generally to try and increase their durability and stability. So Nike's obviously had to work out how to make a shoe with this large stack of ZoomX foam, which is very soft, stable. And they've done that in a couple of key ways. Two big parts of the design are the very, very wide kind of forefoot and base you're getting on the shoe in general. And then there's this big plastic heel clip that runs all the way back to add some kind of stability around the heel during your foot strike. They're both kind of cues taken from the Infinity Run, which has a very wide base and a heel clip design as well. The upper on the shoe is also, it's Flyknit, but it's definitely a bit more structured and supportive than other Flyknit uppers I've used from Nike. It's not really so much like that kind of classic sock-like fit. It's a kind of a far more kind of close, structured fit that you're getting with this shoe. There's a hell of a lot of padding around the collar of the shoe and the tongue. Padding on the collar seems to extend to the outside of the shoe. Don't really know why they've done that. Generally a very kind of soft and pliable kind of collar here. The tongue is nice and padded as well. It's not really like a booty style design, like it is kind of separate to the upper, but it does create kind of nice snug lockdown fit. Big flat laces, again all designed to kind of really hold the foot in place securely as you're running around with this huge stack of ZoomX foam. It's the usual stuff from Nike. It's very soft, it's very bouncy, it's surprisingly lightweight. So this is my UK size 9 and it coming at 297 grams, right, which is 10.4 ounces. That is impressively light given how big this shoe is. The shoe has a 9mm drop from heel to toe. And then on the outsole, you've got a lot of rubber, really. Another area where Nike obviously is trying to ensure durability of the shoe is by putting quite a thick layer of kind of outsole rubber here, kind of like a waffle style design here that they've got going on. It grips perfectly well for me. I've not really seen any kind of too much wear and tear yet after 80k. They're obviously really keen to protect the kind of ZoomX foam in the midsole, which is soft and will kind of get ripped up if you're running directly on it. Shoe is a fairly pricey one for what is kind of a dedicated easy day shoe. It's $159.95 in the UK and $180 in the US. So when it comes to the fit of the shoe, I've gone true to size. I'm a UK 9. This is a UK 9, but it is a very roomy shoe and a wide one as well. So although it's been really comfortable for me to use and I've had no problems with my true to size, there's enough room in the toe box and kind of around the sides here that I probably could have gone down half a size and it wouldn't have been a problem. But yeah, I would say probably true to size is the way to go unless you have very narrow feet, in which case you might drop down half a size.
Fit for me, pretty much the same as Nick really. It fits true to size. It is a roomy shoe, but the way that the shoe is designed means that you can still get a nice, secure, lockdown fit. One thing I did notice is this really cushioned heel collar here. It does feel quite high, and whenever I put the shoes on, I can feel my ankle bone touching the side of this. When I first started wearing it, I thought that might be an issue. I was keeping an eye on it to see if it rubbed. But over 65 kilometers of running, I've had no issues with it, and I never notice it doing that when I'm actually running it. So yeah, nice fit.
So I've done 80k in the shoe, like I say, and it's been across not that many runs. I've done two quite long runs in the shoe. I started with a kind of a 24k easy to steady run. So my classic easy to steady run involves starting at around 4:20 per k, 7 minutes per mile, and finishing around 3:45 per k or 6 minutes per mile. So I did that in the shoe twice. I did a 24k and a 30k run on that kind of style, and it really worked very well for that. Both were at the end of long weeks of training. I've kind of recently slightly increased my mileage, so and I was looking for some protection, but also I really don't want it to feel too soft and squishy when I was slightly upping the pace towards that kind of steady effort towards the end. And it didn't, I have to say, it coped really well with that pace. Really enjoyed running in it on those runs. It was cushioned, it was protective. The only thing I would say is on the 30k, which I did yesterday, towards probably from about 22, 23, 24k onwards, started to get some pain under my left forefoot, and it kind of was, reasonably harsh, and I could feel it the next day as well. So I don't know if it was probably just because I haven't run 30k in a long time, but yeah, that was surprising. There's a lot of cushioning here. The last thing I really expected was any kind of pain underfoot from kind of impact, but especially as I kind of heel strike, so I wasn't landing on that forefoot, so I wasn't really expecting it to be too kind of any kind of pain in that area. But yeah, overall, I was pleased with the ride. I'll be happily go kind of long in these again. Kind of those long, easy, steady efforts. It was really good for. A couple of other runs I've done. I've done another shorter progression run with some strides at the end. Surprisingly good for strides, this, which is odd because it is a soft, big stacker shoe. What I tend to find is that the very soft ride is really apparent when you're doing easy sections. But if you do up the pace, it almost feels like it firms up a bit underfoot, and it doesn't really, you don't get such a big squish in, which obviously would kind of detract from you trying to run quickly. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with the ride overall. It's slightly more versatile than I thought. I still doesn't feel like a shoe that you'd want to do sustained, very hard race pace efforts in, but you can do a bit more than just pure easy runs. Although I did do a couple of very, very easy runs in it, pure recovery efforts, and obviously, yeah, it was really good for that.
I've ran about 65k in this, and that's over one half marathon and 3 runs between about 10 and 15k. And I've ran a few different sorts of runs. The half marathon I did was quite a slow run, and I found it worked really well for that. It was just comfy the whole way, and I really enjoyed that run. I've tried faster runs in it, and it's not particularly well designed for faster runs. It's not bad. You can still pick up the pace a bit, but it's not really designed for that. The best runs that I've actually done in this are recovery runs. And I did a really hard run, not in this shoe, in another shoe. I did a bit of speed training, and my legs were a bit of a mess the next day. And I used these, and they were just great. And I think that is pretty much the real use that these shoes are designed for. I'm a mid to forefoot striker, and I think the shoe works very well. I did find that it's not it doesn't feel like a propulsive shoe. It feels like quite a flat shoe. So when you're running in it, it doesn't feel like you get from shoes that kind of push you forward. It just feels like a very flat, stable shoe where you're hitting the ground. It's not really pushing you off forward. There's bounce in it, but it's not propelling you. It's just giving you a little bit of extra energy as you're running and kind of deadening the impact of each of those footfalls. And as Nick says, the stability of the shoe is really where it comes into its own. So you get all that really soft, cushioned feel as you're running. And as I said, on recovery runs, that's really nice. It just feels like it's taking the brunt of a lot of that effort, and it just makes it really comfortable. But that stability from that really wide base of the midsole, it makes a big difference. And I don't think I've really tried a shoe that has that level of bounce and cushioning, but with a level of stability in it as well. When it comes to durability, it's quite hard to tell because I've been in 65 kilometers in that so far, but there is a lot of rubber on here. It's quite difficult to see how thick that rubber section is that's covering the midsole, that kind of really delicate ZoomX foam there. The only bit of wear and tear I've got from 65 kilometers is this area here, that you can kind of see the rigid rubber section has been worn down just in that one block there, which is where I've been landing in these runs. So yeah, it looks like it should be a more durable shoe than you'd expect from something that's fully made out of ZoomX. But once that rubber goes, I think that's going to be a problem. So we'll find out over the next few weeks how that rubber kind of fares over the longer distances.
So, verdict on Invincible, generally quite a positive one. I have enjoyed running in this shoe despite that kind of forefoot pain after that one long run. It is pretty stable. Like, there's a big stack of foam here, but it's very wide. The heel clip's there. I didn't have any problems occasionally taking a very sharp corner at slightly more like steady pace. Maybe it was a little bit less stable, but No problems like that. It's quite similar to the Asics Nova Blast, very squishy. I did have slightly more stability problems with the Nova Blast, but it's another shoe I really like. But yeah, it's a bit like that, but probably more squishy, but somehow slightly more stable as well. It really performs as I was hoping from a ZoomX shoe like this, but at the same time, that does still come with those kind of ZoomX worries. Durability is still potentially a problem. Slight bit of wear on the outsole. I hope that doesn't develop too much. I think it's only 80k in. And basically for an easy day shoe, I'm looking for durability. Like I don't need to feel like a superstar on my easy runs. I just want to be cushioned and protective, and kind of keep using that shoe for a long time. And that's one area where this might struggle, I think, because it is £160, and there are some fantastic easy day shoes for less than that. Nike's Infinity Run 2 is out there. It's £140. It's a very different ride. It's firmer, it's smoother, it's got that kind of rocker, but it is an incredibly durable shoe. The first version I used for a few hundred miles. I've seen reports of people using them for thousands of miles. I don't think that's going to kind of match. Don't think that Invincible will have that kind of durability. And there are other shoes out there, like Asics Nova Blast is another good shoe. It's cheaper than this. Brooks Glycerin is a really comfortable shoe. Also has proved quite durable for me in the past. It's a bit cheaper than this. Even the Pegasus, to be honest, the Pegasus 37 for easy runs is fine, and it's durable, and it's £100, just over £100. So I don't know, like £160 easy day shoe is obviously the Adidas Ultra Boost is the same price. That's another incredibly durable shoe though I much prefer the ride of the Invincible Adidas Ultra Boost. The newest version is quite firm. So yeah, all in all, it's a really nice shoe to run in. It is comfortable, it is easy. It's a little bit more versatile than I expected, but it's still not a really versatile shoe. It's still not an all-rounder by any means. So for me, that puts a slightly awkward bracket. Like, we'll keep testing and see if the durability is a concern. But to be honest, like, it's a nice easy day shoe. Do you want to spend £160 on that when you could get pretty much an equally nice one for less that is probably going to last longer? It's a tough one for me. But yeah, the Invincible does kind of deliver on what it's meant to do, which is be a really comfortable, squishy ZoomX shoe for your recovery runs. And it is more stable than I expected. I think that's quite a good plus point for it. If you're worried about that, I think it's probably okay. It's not an unstable shoe. But yeah, it's pricey, and we're not sure about durability. So those are the kind of points against it. And the other one is that there are a fantastic array of shoes in this bracket that you might be better off in terms of value for money looking at instead.
As Nick said, it's an area of running shoe that there's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of great shoes that are designed specifically for cushioning and comfort, and you can pick up a lot of those at a cheaper price. But what I would say about the ZoomX Invincible Run is that I haven't ran in a cushioned shoe that feels as cushioned as this. I do think that ZoomX foam does feel different than any other shoe that I've tried before, and I think that's a really nice feeling, but it's just a very specific use case. So if you want a really cushioned shoe for recovery runs and long, slower runs, I think it's a really nice option, just apart from the fact that we don't really know how durable it is at the moment. But if you want a versatile shoe, there are better options for that, and it's not particularly well designed for going faster, and it's not particularly well. You wouldn't use it for racing or anything like that. But if you really just want a comfortable shoe and you're not looking at times, or you're not worried about speed training or tempo training or anything like that, and you just want one shoe to do that kind of soft cushioned running, I think this is a great option. But having said that, it would work really well if you had lots of shoes. So as run testers, we have lots of shoes, and I'll probably continue to use this for my recovery runs and long, slower runs. But if you really just want one pair of shoes, or you're just looking for a couple of pairs of shoes to do all of your running, this is a very specific one, and there's probably better options out there if you want something that's a bit more versatile. A fully ZoomX midsole shoe designed for daily running is something that, after the various other shoes that have been released from Nike that are designed largely for performance, is something that people have been very excited in to see what that shoe looks like. And this is it. This is the first really fully ZoomX shoe designed for long, slow recovery runs, that kind of thing. And I think it does a very good job at that. It does exactly what Nike say it does. It's really comfortable, it's really cushioned, it's really bouncy, but it's just a very specific use case. So if you're looking for a versatile shoe, you may be wanting to look at something else. So that's it from us. Thanks a lot for watching our review of the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit. Don't forget to take a look at all the other things that we've got on the channel, from the latest headphones and running watches to all the different trail shoes and running shoes that are coming out at the moment. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell icon, and we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.